Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. And on today's show, we're talking trades. I know you people are probably thinking, Brett, we're only into week 5 of the NFL season. But little be known, it'll creep up on you. Week 9, November 5th, which happens to be my birthday, is the NFL trade deadline. And I think the Titans could be making major moves. At 0-4, they already made one trade, giving away Jarvis Brownlee Jr. to the New York Jets for pretty much nothing. I think they could be looking to blow the team up and get lots of draft capital to build with Cam Ward and kind of just, hey, the season's kind of over. We have a bunch of really talented players, but they're kind of rotting, so we'll get rid of them. We'll make sure they get to a good spot, and we can get all the draft picks as possible to build later in the future. Before we get into my 3 candidates who could be traded, you tell me, name a player that you would trade before the NFL trade deadline. It could be anybody on the Titans. It could even be Cam Ward if you're one of those crazy people that think he's not the real deal. Go down in the comments section right now. My first one, and I think everybody would probably agree with me, and it's probably the number one person who might already be on the trade block, and that's wide receiver Calvin Ridley. And I loved Ridley going into the season. I drafted him in pretty much every single one of my fantasy teams. Well, he has been an absolute disappointment, and that is just kind of downplaying the whole situation. He has been a shell of himself. He doesn't look good. He looks lazy. He's having every single drop, and that is just not what we expected going into this year. You go back to OTAs, you go back to training camp. It was, he's locked in. He's playing this season or playing each rep like it's his last rep of his career. Well, I mean, at this point, you're looking like you're going to be out of the league if you keep playing like this. 10 receptions, man. In 4 games played, and he's been targeted over 20 times. Him and Cam Ward just can't seem to get on the right connection. And then Calvin Ridley's also just dropping a bunch of passes. So I think with the contract that he has, well, the Titans could really look to move off of him. And yeah, he's been a shell of himself. I was expecting Calvin Ridley to be one of the top wide receivers going into this year in a 1,000-yard receiving season. Because last year, he had 1,000, and he was working with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. So I know that he still has a little bit of talent in him. The Titans, they could look to start shopping him. And I say that because last week, he only played 41% of the snaps. And Brian Callahan said he was banged up a little bit and he could have played, but you could see Tyler Lockett right there, 93%. He's a veteran wide receiver. And then Alec Manor has become one of the top guys for him, but Calvin Ridley dropping all the way down. And they're like, hey, let's keep him healthy so we could possibly trade him come November before the November 5th trade deadline. There's just one little problem. What team is going to want this contract for a guy that only has 10 catches through 4 games? 4 years, $92 million. And I think he's 2 years into that 4-year contract, but it is rough. And who is going to take that type of money? Who is going to be willing to give away some draft capital for a guy that's declining and on his way out? Well, the Giants could be one of them. They just lost their star wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, and they're definitely looking for a wide receiver to pair with Jackson Dart, another rookie quarterback. It didn't work with Cam Ward. Hell, maybe it'll work with Jackson Dart. And the Dolphins, we saw that horrific injury to Tyreek Hill last night. They could also be looking for a wide receiver. What could you get for him? I don't really know. At this point in his career, I mean, you're post-30, you're on the decline, you're already playing bad. Maybe a 4th at best, but it kind of just seems like the writing on the wall that they're going to try to trade him, and nobody is going to go after him. Nobody's going to want him, and he's going to have to get on the same page with Cam Ward. Second candidate, who I think this is a big one, and I don't want to trade Jeffery Simmons, who, surprise, it's the second guy on this list, but it just feels like you kind of have to. He is so talented, and this is a tough pill to swallow if you're a Titans fan or if you're just a Jeffery Simmons fan in general. And the Titans are ruining the great career that Jeffery Simmons is having. He is having an all-pro season every single year of his career. And this year, he's been the only bright spot for the Tennessee Titans. 14 tackles, 5 tackles for losses, 2 sacks in 4 games played. And you see last year 5 sacks in every single season. He's on pace to get the most in the last 5 years. But it just seems like they're just wasting his career. And it's sad to say. And Jeffery Simmons has easily been the best player on the Titans, and I don't think it's close. No one on the offense looks good. We see a little bit of the potential with Alper Manor. We see a little bit of the potential with Cam Ward. And on defense, T'Vondre Sweat's on the IR. Xavier Woods has looked solid. L'Jarius Sneed, maybe he's coming into his own, but it's Jeffery Simmons every single play. And the one thing that impressed me the most was against the Texans. And I don't know if this is a record, but this is the fastest sack in the last 2 seasons. And Jeffery Simmons just broke through the line right there and gets to C.J. Stroud for the sack. It was the highlight play of the entire game. But what do you have to show for it? A 26-0 loss. A 26-0 loss. You can't stop them because everybody else is terrible. The offense is a laughingstock. And Jeffery Simmons is just sitting there rotting. Yeah, he's a great player. But it would be a service to Simmons to send him to a better team. Kind of just, hey, we know what you've done here, so go out and kind of be successful, be a great player somewhere else. And, well, the Ravens, they lost one of their star players, one of their defensive tackles, so now they're in the market for a defensive tackle. And Joey Peterson, who hosts the Ravens Rundown channel here at Chat Sports, he came up with this idea, so I took it from him. And I'm going to call it my trade idea, but it is his trade idea. And he said, get a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 third-round pick for Jeffery Simmons. I think also Tom Downey in the Cowboys Report did a trade idea with Jeffery Simmons today, too. So it is a very, very big idea that, hey, some people are looking to trade for an all-pro defensive tackle in Jeffery Simmons. And here's why the Ravens should. Nnamdi Madubuike out for the season with a neck injury. So the Ravens, they're already dealing with enough injuries. Their season might be done. Lamar Jackson's out for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So maybe they could trade for him. But if Lamar's out and a bunch of other players are out, their season could be done and they could just say, screw it. But if they did want to do that, if they did want to try to bolster their team, the Titans get the draft capital that they need for the future. You get a second-round pick and a third-round pick in the future, and the Ravens get an absolute X-factor on defense. He would be a swarming player on Baltimore, and he would put that defense from here all the way up here. It would be a scary sight to see because their defense is trash right now. It's trash. Would you make this trade? Give me a Y for yes, or give me an N for no down in the comments section. I don't think it's that bad of a trade. I don't think you're going to get a first-round pick for Jeffery Simmons. I just don't think that's happening. We'll break down my last trade candidate coming up in a second, but first, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. And now a new feature on Prize Picks. You can follow other players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, you can hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. I have a lineup for this weekend's game for Tennessee against Arizona, and I think Cam Ward is going to go less. Offensive line is struggling, but Alper Manor, he might get a touchdown. Give me the more on that one, and Kyler Murray can scamper. He can scoot. Give me the more on that one on 30.5 rushing yards. You can make a lineup just like that when you download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. My last guy on this list, they really should trade him. And I like Chig, but he is the next guy on this list who I think is a potential trade candidate. And we've kind of talked about, should the Titans trade Chig? Should they trade him in the offseason, get something for him? He's had a solid season so far, 13 catches, 124 yards. Yeah, that's how bad Calvin Ridley is. Chig Okonkwo has more catches, and he's splitting first-team snaps with another tight end. You got to wake up, Calvin. You got to wake up. But the Chig rumors, they have been all over the offseason and all over even before the draft because, I don't know if the Titans see him as their future tight end. I don't think they see him on this team in the future. But you can see he's a solid tight end. I mean, he's not going to be your star. He's not that type of Brock Bowers or Tyler Warren type tight end. But still, you're a solid number one guy, 50 catches in 2024 and 2023, and he's kind of on pace, 19 targets, 13 receptions. He doesn't drop the ball. But there was also kind of rumors swirling around, and Titans Sports Center kind of said that he was a trade candidate. And this is what they had to say. For the past 3 seasons, Chig has been the Titans tight end 1. He's eclipsed the 450-yard mark in each of those seasons, has 6 touchdowns over that span. He's a good player, but the Titans really believe in Gunnar Helm, their 4th-round rookie. So Okonkwo could be on his way out if they get an enticing offer. And Gunnar Helm, since the preseason, has looked like a dog. He can go out there and catch anything that you throw at him. And he's a lot faster than Chig Okonkwo. I don't want to say he's as big as a good blocker, but the Titans, they can't block anything right now. And then they asked Nick Holes, the offensive coordinator today, Jim Wyatt did, talking about Gunnar Helm. And he said that he's been a bright spot. The physicality that he plays has even exceeded the expectations. I mean, we saw that play against the Falcons in the preseason where he just went up, caught it over 2 players. That was awesome. And I think they want to give him more opportunities. And it says, is picking things up well, expect his opportunities to increase. So if his opportunities increase, that means Chig's kind of decrease because they're going to transition him to start being that tight end 1. Chig Okonkwo, he's also in a contract year. After this season, he's a free agent. And I said it before, I don't think they see him as a part of this Titans future. So they're just going to let him walk in free agency. And Chig is most likely going to go on his way out. They're not going to want to pay him. So at this point, try to find somebody that needs a solid tight end, trade him away, and get something. It's that, hey, you're going to lose him anyway. At least just throw a dart at the board. Hopefully you get something for Chig Okonkwo. Because if not, then you're going to go into the offseason and you had a chance to get maybe a 4th or 5th round pick, maybe even a 6th, and you're going home with absolutely nothing. So I think it's a possibility that Chig could get traded. Would you trade Chig Okonkwo? Or if you like Gunnar Helm a lot, or do you think Chig is still that tight end 1? Give me a T for trade or K for keep. Hopefully the Titans can get a win this week. I have a preview coming out for you guys tomorrow against their game against the Arizona Cardinals. So make sure you hit that sub button. And as always, tighten up.